So I'm up to number 4 in my IPA weekly editing, the free weekly editing that I'm offering young photographers in Asia. So week 1 I picked a young photographer from Philippines. Week 2 was a young photographer from India. 3 was from Indonesia, and this week we have a young photographer from Vietnam, Trang. And let's have a look at her synopsis text. So she's titled it My Being. So obviously this is a very personal, diaristic sort of set of images. So based on the text, what I do is normally I just pick up on certain keywords that motivate, that'll allow me to, that'll motivate the way I look at the images, and maybe pick up cues. They'll give me sort of visual cues as well. So from word cues to visual cues. So let's look at a text. Vague, journey, inner, outer, insecure, hopeful, happy, change, time, people, surroundings. So those are the keywords that I'm picking up on. Let's have a look at the images. Well, one thing that's nice about Trang's submission, there's a fair amount of images, 70 in total. Let's have a look. It's like 70 images, mostly black and white, and there's a few sort of color images, which makes it interesting. Let's have a look. Oops. So as you can see, what I'll do now is I'll just show the ones I've ticked. Yeah, so from her wide edit of 70, I've kind of done a first cull, and it cut it down to almost half, 36. So I've got 36 images now. Just zoom out. It's a nifty little thing on this iPhone where you can zoom in and out with the 3 lens. I'm using the iPhone 11. You can zoom out and zoom in with the 3 lens, which is a wide, super wide, and a standard, and a tele, I mean. So the second thing I would do after I do the wide cull of the wide edit, I would eliminate frames that I think are repeating. So if there's a few frames that I feel similar, I would pick the better one and drop the other one. So I've culled 36 down to 23 now. I think it still needs to be culled a bit more. The thing is, the looser you have your edit, the more flaws will reveal themselves. And I think if you're doing a tight edit to actually continue, it's better to be as tight as possible, because as you develop your project, it'll only get looser as it goes by time. That's the nature of how things are. And especially when you're still a new photographer, still haven't found your voice, and you're confident in that voice, and you're sharp. I think the word is being sharp. From Trang's images, I can see that there's good bass and good potential. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing. I can see that she is fishing in the right part of the ocean. Right now it looks like she's using a very wide net, but she's in the right spot. And as she fishes more, confidence builds, sensibilities get stronger, the eyes get stronger, sharper, and there will be a point where all she needs is a fishing line, because she knows exactly what spot it is. But I don't think it's quite there yet, but it's very promising. So I'm going to cull this down further from 23. For the time being, I think I will remove all the color images. I kind of like the idea of having some color images to accent some parts, but for now, moving forward, I think I'll cull them. So now we're down to 2021. So what I've done here is actually picked out the images that are softer in palette, softer, more gentile in eye. The light quality is consistent. It's melancholic, which speaks to some of the notes that Trang mentioned. I like the mix of the portraits in private spaces and the ones taken outside. It's very nice. My advice though, when doing portraits, self-portraits or portraits of maybe a very close friend or partner or lover or whatnot, the only way to do it nice is if you drop your guard, let yourself be vulnerable, and go all the way. Because when you hold back, sometimes it doesn't come across the way it should. So my advice to Trang would be, if you intend to include self-portraits and to explore that part of your photography, I would say be totally vulnerable, let yourself go and be in front of the camera. So I'm now down to 21 images, but I think it can still be culled a bit more. I kind of like this image, but it's very different from the rest of the images. Obviously, I think it was taken with a film camera, and the exposure is a bit harsh. I think it was dodged a bit to enhance the effect. So I'm gonna kill this baby. And sometimes we have to forego images that we might like because it just doesn't fit. But I did like what was in that image. So now we're down to 20. I like the content of this and what I'm reading out of the image based on the series and what Trang wrote. But I'm kind of feeling that I will tighten my edit a bit more, and I will actually remove this. So for me, the images don't have to individually say anything specific, but for me, the sum of all its parts should evoke a certain quality of mood. So this one, I'm leaving in there for the time being as an accent. Obviously, the way it's photographed, the contrast is a lot stronger, but sometimes maybe we need some accents. So now I'm down to 15 images. Let's have a look. So basically I've picked out images that have a softer quality, that are more gentile, and there's a certain ethereal, is that the right word, ethereal quality about them flowing through. This image I am, on the fence about. I think it can be much. I think your Trang is capable of a much nicer image to represent what she wants to represent here. I'm also a bit double-minded about this image, but I'll leave it in for now. Okay, so I've decided to just leave the edit at 15 as a guide for Trang. Here's an overview, and I've also done. I also did a quick sequence from 1 to 15 of how I'm kind of seeing it at the moment, and hopefully this will serve as a guide for Trang moving forward. Let's have a look. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's see if that works, or on second thoughts now, I'm kind of thinking that maybe, let's see how it looks if I move this frame to the end, the 8 at the end. So there's a, it harks back to her note about being hopeful. So, the number 8, is a hopeful number. Let's see how that feels. I'll play that again. Let's see if I zoom in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So which ending did you guys like better? Or Trang, which one do you like better? I'll let you decide. I think for now I'll give you this edit with this image as the concluding final image. So there you go. Thanks Trang for submitting your work, and I hope you found it useful, and that my editing and this final sequence of 15 helps you with your work. Thanks again.